This is Leslie.
And Dan.
And we're excited to show you an overview and a demo of TourAdvantage. Let's get started. Chances are, if you've done any email marketing at all, you've done what most tour operators do, and that's send out a newsletter. Now, a newsletter might work for some people, but it's generally not as effective as other types of email marketing, and here's why. Number one, it's being sent out on your timing. So when you have the ability, the time, the moment to send out a message, that's when a newsletter goes out. Another part of that problem is when you do have time to send it, create it, build it, it takes a lot of manual effort. And because of that, they rarely get sent out on a consistent basis. Now, what I want to introduce you to is a second type of email marketing, and that's automation. We found automation to be far superior to sending a newsletter because rather than being sent when you're ready for a message to go out, email marketing sent when the customer or the prospect indicates that they're interested in hearing from you. Also, it does require a little bit of setup on the front end, but it doesn't require an ongoing manual effort. We call it set and forget. So you'll do a little bit of that setup in the beginning, and then all of the work is happening in the background so that you don't have to stop from managing your tours in order to make sure that an email marketing message gets out. Now, sending a newsletter does work well for some people. And if you want to continue to send a newsletter out of TourAdvantage because you have a very specific audience you want to talk to on a regular basis, you have a lot of local customers or customers that come back on a frequent basis, then you can absolutely do that. But the great thing about automation is that it works for everyone because the location of that customer doesn't matter. What matters is the timing. And that's why we see such a greater ROI with set and forget automation over the newsletter. So let's jump into TourAdvantage where you can see the advantages of going beyond the newsletter.
TourAdvantage is a Fair Harbor platform partner, and downstream we work with an email marketing tool called Drip. So if you're using MailChimp or Constant Contact or ActiveCampaign or something like that today, Drip would replace your current email marketing tool. There are three components to our TourAdvantage subscription. The first is really robust data integration between Fair Harbor and Drip. The next is online training to help you get set up with those set and forget campaigns as quickly as possible. And lastly, we have over 25 workflow accelerators. These are essentially jump starts or templates to those automated set and forget campaigns and the emails that they contain. Let's start by talking about the email marketing tool, Drip. Drip is an e-commerce centric email marketing platform. So most of the people using Drip today are e-commerce storefronts, like they sell apparel or food or other merchandise online. And Drip accomplishes this by being able to pull in that order and item level detail right into the email marketing system to be able to use it to trigger those automated set and forget campaigns. It also does this by doing a great job at website browse tracking, the ability to know when your prospects and customers are browsing your site and where. It's got a lot of advanced analytics around e-commerce email marketing, and it's way more simplified to use, we found, to build the automation, to build the forms, and to build the emails themselves. So what we say we like to do with TourAdvantage is bridge the gap between tour operators like yourselves and advanced e-commerce email marketing. If you've ever received emails that say, if you like that, you'll love this, or notice you're checking out our site, is there anything we can help with? That's advanced e-commerce email marketing, and that's what we're going to help you to do yourself with TourAdvantage. Let's look at the first component of TourAdvantage, the robust data integration between Fair Harbor and Drip. To do that, we're going to look at an actual screen in Drip. This is a subscriber record in Drip. You can see their email address here. We can see some basic things they're tagged with or segmented into. We can see the different tours they've purchased from our fictitious tour company, Lucia City Tours. They've purchased the Lucia City Kayaking Tour, and we can see that they purchased child and adult tickets, and we can see that they are a Lucia City local. We know this because we're pulling in the custom field from Fair Harbor that was created during the booking process. In this case, the tour operator asked the question during the booking process, what's your relationship with Lucia City? And the responses were, I'm a Lucia City local, I'm not a local, but I visit frequently, or I rarely visit Lucia City. We see other things like the number of orders they've placed and their total lifetime value, how much money this person has spent with this tour company over time. This is the e-commerce functionality. Drip calls them orders, but they are the same thing as bookings in FareHarbor. And this information is pulled over. Here's what it looks like. So now we're looking at this particular order. Again, this is a FareHarbor booking. We see the various line items in this order. The first line item is always the primary product they purchased, and we can see that there was 4 tickets purchased. We see that 2 of those were adult tickets and 2 of those were child tickets. This is the customer type rate from FareHarbor. And we see that they've ordered an add-on, in this case the photo package. So this was an additional product that they can order and put on the booking on top of the primary product. So in this case, you could send an email marketing campaign when they don't purchase the photo package to encourage them or upsell them on the photo package. Moving on, we're going to drill down a bit more into this booking. So we see that it is a direct book as opposed to using an OTA like TripAdvisor or Viator. We see the event start date and time and the event end date and time of when the actual tour will take place. We see the grand total and a bunch of other information. So we're showing you this individual subscriber record in Drip. Not that you'd be going into Drip and looking at this kind of thing very often. We don't want you to have to do that. The point here is that this is all the information available to build those automated set and forget campaigns. All the data coming from FareHarbor about the booking, when the booking was placed, what was ordered, when they're going to show up, and everything about how they're browsing your website, where they're looking around, when they're purchasing or not purchasing is all available for you to build set and forget campaigns. Now let's talk about what type of campaigns you can build with this information.
The first set of workflows that I want to introduce you to are workflows designed to help you gain new leads. So these include a lead magnet that would pop up on your website and then an onboarding series to follow up with that lead magnet. Not everyone's familiar with the term lead magnet, so I brought you here to Lucia City Tours. This is a fictitious tour company that we use in our training, and you can see this pop up down below. This is an example of a lead magnet. So we're saying, drop us your email address and we'll send you 5 gorgeous waterfalls that are in our region. Now this pop-up is useful for a few reasons. Number one, if we see anybody have a pop-up or an email address field on their website anywhere, it usually says, give us your email address to subscribe to our newsletter. A, that's not very appealing. And B, we don't want you to have to do a newsletter if you don't want to. So what this does is offer a piece of information showing you as the expert in exchange for their email address. And the likelihood of getting an actual email address goes up when you deliver that information. In fact, there's a study that says it's 85 to 87% more effective than just saying, drop your email address to subscribe to our newsletter. So definitely worth doing. Very easy to do with TourAdvantage. Only requires a little bit of effort to consider what your lead magnet topic might be, because you want something that will work really well for your prospects, but not at all hard to design and deliver. And after you deliver that, in this case, that list of 5 gorgeous waterfalls, then you can follow up with a welcome email, which is the most opened email of any that you'll ever get. And both of those are great opportunities to stay top of mind, to train them to open emails from you, and to offer a book now or learn more button in the email that encourages a buy, especially if they didn't buy when they were on your website the first time. Now, the next set of campaigns we want to introduce you to help you turn leads into customers, primarily in the form of browse abandonment. Now, you might have heard of cart abandonment before. This is very similar, except that it's higher up in the funnel. So you don't have to wait for someone to have put a tour in their quote-unquote cart. You're actually going to be reacting to them when they're browsing on your site and they leave without making a purchase. So because this is higher up in the sales funnel, it tends to outperform cart abandonment by about 200%. Now, we talked about one of the great things about the pop-up from that lead magnet being that it allows you to capture an email address at about 85 to 87% more effectiveness than the typical, drop your email address field on your website. But the other thing that pop-up does is it sets a cookie on that person's machine. And yes, for our friends in the EU, it is GDPR friendly. But with that cookie, you can follow people around and see in a non-creepy way what types of tours that they're interested in. Wait a few hours is industry standard to wait about 2 hours. See if they've made a purchase. If they did, that's fantastic. They're going to go into the next workflow that we're going to talk about. But if they didn't make a purchase or they hadn't made a purchase recently, then we're going to send them an email encouraging them to do so. Usually at this point in the buying process, people are interested in trust. So they have trust issues. So it's either timing, which wouldn't work anyway, or trust. So we'll respond with an email that says, hey, we noticed you were checking out our kayak tour. Here's what people are saying about it. Here's some FAQs about it, that sort of thing. Of course, you want to have a book now button there so that people can book their tour with you right away from that email. So this is a great way to capture people who have left your site without buying and kind of bring them back around to purchasing with you. Now, the third set would be after someone has purchased with you, what you want to do is offer them an upsell or a cross-sell if you've got that available among your tours. We know that about a third of Amazon sales, Walmart sales, other major retailers, a third of their revenue is coming from cross-sells and upsells. Now, we know this is important not only because of those large chains, but also places like TripAdvisor and Viator are doing this as well. If you've ever purchased something on TripAdvisor, Viator, Get Your Guide, what you'll notice is that A, they do browse abandonment. So if you didn't purchase all the way, you were just looking around, they're going to send you a browse abandonment email. But B, if you do buy something, then they try to get you to buy something else in that same part of the country, usually in that same town. But here's the kicker. They're not upselling your other tours. They're upselling other vendors' tours. What we want to give you the ability to do is to play in that market, but upsell your own tours. And that's what this workflow offers you the ability to do. Because of the robust integration with Fair Harbor, we're able to see what they've purchased from you in that moment and what they purchased from you in the past, and then offer a suggestion that makes sense for them and for your business. So that sweet spot is the time between when they purchase the tour from you and when they're taking the tour. And you get to decide in what part of that sweet spot it's best for you to offer the upsell or the cross-sell. Is it right after they purchase? Is it right before they show up? Is it both? Is it a combination thereof, depending on what that lead time is between booking and taking the tour? All of those options are available to you within TourAdvantage. And finally, we want to talk about nurturing customers. There's a couple different ways to do this. The first one would be to leverage the check-in on Facebook feature in order to get your tour in front of more people. So we know that when somebody checks in on Facebook, about 200 people see that. That's free marketing. So maybe, 30 minutes, 20 minutes before they show up for your tour or before they take the tour, usually they're there in the parking lot just looking at their phone, send them an email encouraging them to check in. Now, you can also send a review request right after the tour. And I know you can send a review request out of Fair Harbor. If you want to continue to do that, that's no problem. If you move your review request from Fair Harbor to TourAdvantage, you have the ability to indicate how long after the tour you want that review to go out. You have the ability to resend it after a certain amount of time to people who hadn't clicked through on that. You also have the ability to, or I should say more ability to design the email that reflects the look and feel and brand of your business. And then, of course, you can ask for reviews on Google, TripAdvisor, whatever, Yelp, whatever platform that you want. We know anecdotally that when a review request is sent out of Fair Harbor, customers are typically getting about a 1% return. And when they're sending them out of TourAdvantage, same subject line, same exact email, they're getting about a 10% return. I don't have a reason why that's happening. We're just seeing it with a lot of our customers. So that's another reason you might want to consider moving your review request to TourAdvantage. Now, you can also, if you've got a customer base that typically returns again and again year after year, or they're mostly locals, and you want to talk to them because they have the ability to come back or bring their family and friends who might be in town for visiting, or your customers just come on a regular basis. Maybe you do horseback riding lessons or swim lessons, or you're a museum or an aquarium that tends to have people come back again and again. Then you can set up a nurturing campaign. So again, rather than sending a newsletter out when you have time, you could set up 3, 5, 10 emails that go out maybe once a month to people after they make a purchase with you. That just gives them a little bit more information about the tours you offer, the membership benefits, the great thing about coming back for a return visit, and it allows you to stay top of mind. It goes out in a cadence that makes sense for you, but it's happening in the background. You don't have to worry about remembering, oh my gosh, it's almost the 4th of July and I forgot to do my 4th of July newsletter. So those are the 4 types of campaigns that we encourage people to do with TourAdvantage. Now, the second component of TourAdvantage is extensive online training. So this is a screenshot of what your training portal would look like. Most of the training classes we're in Drip, and we're showing you not how to do email marketing, but how to utilize Drip and TourAdvantage specifically for tour operators. So there's nothing general going on here. It's very specific for tour operators. Now, you've got a few classes where you've got myself and Dan, and we're giving you an overview or an introduction to something, but most of the classes are right within Drip utilizing TourAdvantage. The reason we're able to offer TourAdvantage so affordably is because of this training. So it will be up to you to watch all of the training classes that apply to your business, and our onboarding process will help you identify what those are. You will need to watch the training class, install your accelerator, and change the accelerator and the emails associated with that to match your business model. So you will have some setup work to do. Now, we're not talking weeks and months. We're talking hours and days in order to get your first few emails up and running. In general, a basic setup with your lead magnet, your browse abandonment, your upsell workflows, your review requests, those things should take maybe 10 to 15 hours worth of work in order to get up and published and live. So not a lot of work, but you will have to do it. You're not going to see a return on your investment unless you actually do the work up front. And then once that is set in place, then you can forget about it and move on to running your business and watching the revenue come in. Many of the classes are about the third component of the TourAdvantage offering, and that's the workflow accelerators. And I would like to jump into the training material and show you what that looks like. Okay, here we are inside the training portal, and we're looking at one of the training classes here for upselling after a booking. Now, this is the class that you would watch, and then you've got links above here, and these are examples of 4 different types of accelerators. So an accelerator is a way to get started very quickly with a workflow and a campaign. Let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to click this link. So this would be somebody wants to upsell a cocktail add-on after a food tour package, or maybe you want to upsell a photo add-on after a dolphin package, or maybe you want to upsell a membership after they purchase a general admission ticket. Anytime you want to upsell an add-on after a purchase, this would be the accelerator that you'd use. So you click the link, and you can see a picture of the workflow. So you don't have to create this from scratch. We've got this all set up for you. You're going to click the pink button, pick your company name, and what it does is it makes a copy of this workflow in your system. So I'm going to close this now, and we'll open up Drip, and I'll refresh, and you'll see there it is at the top. There's the copy of the original one. So I'm going to open that up and show you what it looks like. So for you, what you'll do is, of course, you'll want to give it a new name. Maybe this is Upsell Photos After Kayak Tour. You'll notice this workflow is triggered when an order has been placed. And you can say, for example, that it's when I don't know if we have any kayak tours in here, but we can do it on the food tour. So when somebody purchases the food tour, that's when this workflow takes place. Now, this drop down would be filled with your tours and your tours only. So I'll update that trigger. We wait a day. We look to see if they purchased the cocktail package in the last 30 hours. If they did, we're not going to send them anything. If they didn't, then we're going to send them an email series. Now, the series of emails could be 1 email or it could be 3 emails, but this is, will you share a cocktail with me? So you'll need to come in here, and even if you're upselling a cocktail package from a food tour, you'll still need to change the photos, change the logo, change the copy. You'll want to make this all your own, but you have a template here to start from. You've got a button that links people out to how they can upgrade that package with you. And then we go back here to the workflow. You'll notice that if any time anybody cancels this order, or if the tour starts before this email goes out, maybe because they bought it in the morning and they're headed to that food tour just a few hours later, it's going to prevent that email from going out. So no one's going to get an email that they're not supposed to. But we know that whenever somebody places the food tour, we know when they place the food tour. We know whether they bought that add-on package or not. Even if it's a day later, we know when they cancel. We know when their tour starts. All of that information is available because of that robust integration with FareHarbor. It's not just emails coming through. It's full orders, as we talked about earlier. And that's how we know all of this information. So the third component, back to what I was saying, the third component of your TourAdvantage purchase are these accelerators or jump starts or templates of workflows. And you'll notice there's several of them throughout your training material that are available to you when you purchase the product to help you get up and started and running as quickly as possible.
Let's talk about one of our favorite parts of TourAdvantage, and that's showing you results. What we're looking at here are actual screens from the Drip Analytics dashboards. So you can see some typical things that you may be used to seeing in your email marketing system, like your open rates and your click-through rates and your unsubscribe rate and bounce rate. These are really important email marketing metrics to look at no matter what tool you're using. But Drip, because it's an e-commerce email marketing tool, you also see the approximate amount of revenue attributed to each campaign you do. And we love that because we like you to see results. Now, you will not see results if you don't put the effort in place up front. Again, it's not weeks and months, but hours and days to get to the point where you're starting to see some of these results. But you do have to put the effort in. Some folks have not put any effort in, and obviously they're going to see 0 drip attributed here. But we're confident if you put the effort in, spend time up front, you will start to see these results. So if you put 5 different campaigns in place, maybe a browse abandonment, maybe a cross-sell or upsell campaign, or 2 or 3 of those, you can look at the approximate revenue that each one of those have brought in based on the timing of the email and who has clicked through. Let's talk about pricing. All the functionality and training we've talked about today is available for our flat rate, monthly or annual subscriptions. Please note this price does not include the cost of Drip. So if you're using an email marketing tool today like MailChimp, essentially Drip would replace that tool. To take a look at Drip pricing, go out to drip.com/pricing. It's priced by the number of subscribers. So for the price of $119 a month or $1,190 annually, you get our extensive online training, that robust data integration between FareHarbor and Drip. You get integration between Werewolf or Smart Waiver if you have one of those waiver systems. You can use any number of FareHarbor dashboards for the same price. You get all of our workflow accelerators and email templates. You get an onboarding call to determine strategy specific to your tour company. We will load your historic booking data to include the booking information and not just the email addresses. You get access to our private TourAdvantage Facebook community, and you get 1 month of our TourAdvantage services for free. You also get 1 month free with Drip. Now, most Drip customers will get 14 days. If you sign up with us, we'll make sure you get 30 days with Drip as well. Just make sure you use the code FREEMONTH when you sign up for our subscription service in TourAdvantage. To sign up, simply click the subscribe button below. Now, I would recommend that you wait to sign up until you're ready to get started. Remember, this system will not work for you if you do not put the effort in upfront. Not a tremendous amount of effort, but some effort. We've had some folks sign up, their 30-day trial goes by and they haven't done anything. That's not what we want to see. If you're too busy right now, if you got too much going on, wait till sometime when you have 1 or 2 days available to get it set up, and then sign up to take advantage of that free month. Really, really important. Again, click the subscribe button below. Thank you, and if you have any questions, please reach out to us at info@sunstonedigitalmarketing.com.